Hello everybody, my name is Rob and I'm going to just do this, I called it Craft Market course, but I'm just going to discuss these subjects with you in the process of telling you things that I feel you need to know in relation to craft marketing, crafts, the shows, in other words, type of shows. So my first comment is going to be craft marketing covers a variety of things. There's wholesale, there's local, there is craft markets, the actual crafting markets, where you set up a booth, and then there's the online, all of which I believe you should run all of them. Okay, now traditionally crafters went onto craft markets and sold their products, and then in 2008 or so online switched up and things like Etsy arrived and online became a thing. I have a history of being online myself, teaching crafters since 2008, and I've had hundreds of crafting and other type of clients, and so I've watched the evolution of things like, I was there for the birth of Twitter, Facebook, almost all of them, and how they've evolved with your online marketing and then obviously marketing your courses. Sorry about that. My dog is very vocal. She's always got stuff to say. Okay, so this is not going to be like the kind of course that you've got to pay $300 for. I just wanted to point out a whole number of things. And to be very honest, my planning in this has involved probably 15 minutes of typing to set up these little sections for you. So first up, I think that craft marketing, actual just doing shows, craft shows, I think it's not what it used to be. I also know that you could still make a very nice full-time living on the craft markets, but there are a few things that you need to do. You need to only stick to the good markets, and of course that's debatable as to how you find those. They definitely do exist, and then you also plus you need to keep an eye on them. Good markets die and old markets come along. New markets come along. The ones to avoid are the little weekend local city ones that if you want to make yourself a lot of money, those aren't likely to work for you unless you are only marketing locally. In other words, now you're building a brand that people know who you are. Every time they go to a local pet show, the SPCA show, a school fete, church fete, any kind of a ice skating function over the December period, you're there and you're visible and people learn to trust and know you. And so there's lots of ways of doing things like that, and I'm going to try and cover all of that in here. I think let me for now go and keep this video running. It's only 3 minutes and I'm going to go into the type of market. So just to let you know that there's a huge thing to do. Incidentally, sorry, I must interrupt. You should definitely get the books that I've got, and the free books and the paid books, all of it related to anything that relates to which direction you want your crafting marketing course. So how to market your crafts, but craft markets, the shows. I've got books on shows, and I will have printables and other things related to just the things you need to remember each time you do a market. Take a pen, take a drink, take toilet paper, things like that. So I'm going to start with types of markets. Look at this. I've even put local markets in a thing. By the way, I did markets as a full-time living myself. Full-time living was only in South Africa, and that was from about 2000. No, in the 90s, the early 1990s. Before that, I was a part-time crafter. But from the early 1990s until about 2008, I was a full-time crafter. It's all I did for earning and my living. I also switched products quite a few times as I felt old products were not working for me or had markets that would do better for my family and I. Okay, so for example, a church market. To be very honest, they're the kind of market you must only do if you've got absolutely nothing else to do and you wouldn't mind some grocery money for the next week. School functions are often very the same. Now, don't get me wrong, I've been to school functions that have earned my entire month income at one single day market, a massive wealthy school. And I've been to other school markets where I just wanted to cry. By lunchtime, I was sitting there with nothing to do. I'd read my book twice, whatever. And I just wondered what overcame me thinking that this would be a good idea. I'm finding myself in a classroom at the back of the school, or I'm finding myself out in a field where there's no kids. So interrupt this, by the way. I did very well on school shows when I sold a product that kids loved. I made toy parachutes. So every weekend I would go to as many as 5 school functions, fates, call them school fates if you want, school, whatever they were. And 5 of them combined, I could pay the booth fee, the stall fee. I could pay a staff member, normally a teenager, to sell my product and still make enough money to make it comfortably through to the next week, alive and well. And, pay rents and whatever it was. So some of these things are very niche orientated is what I'm trying to tell you. And incidentally, I'm going to also interrupt myself here to tell you that I hope, in fact, I'm telling you now, if you haven't done niche research, any research, go back to my page that talks about research and go through it very, very carefully. Research is so important. Let's just pick jewelry. If you made jewelry and you could be making, let's say, resin earrings, because they are the rage at the moment. If they are, they might already be dying down. Do it, but know that they are. Now, if you're making Fimo weed leaf jewelry, how many are you going to sell? You're going to pick a kind of, all of the 65-year-old people that think, those are so cool, I remember those, and buy one. So take care. Niche research before you get going. Okay, so there's other things that, again, if your niche works, the farmers markets, any markets that your city puts on. So cities often do great things. I had an art market that the city did. There's other things. You could let spaces on in stores. That's kind of wholesaling, I guess. There's the strangest thing. I did a market once for a police. What is it called? It would be, I suppose. Anyway, it was the local police. Oh my goodness, what do they call it? Office. I've done one at a fire station. I did one at motor racing. I did quite a few motor racing ones. So the other is ample. Incidentally, further down here, I talk about things like Comic-Con and art markets and trade shows and bike rallies and all of them have their space and their place. What you need to understand is that you need to know your niche and the crafts you make. So you must know your niches in demand. That's research. Then you must produce, and I'll talk about it here, size of booth, type of booth, layout. You must know that you're doing it to the best way of displaying it possible. Now, by the way I recommend you do it, is it worth setting up that big 20 by 10 at a local farmer's market? No, it's not. You're never going to get enough people at the farmer's market to warrant a 1.5 hour setup time and 10 by 20. You never know, but chances are it's not going to work. So you need to be sure that the combo of markets you've taken. Incidentally, I've got a book on how to find markets. I've got a book on how to do local marketing. All of these make a difference in the direction you've chosen. Okay, so other things to do with markets, you need to be careful that you've chosen the right ones and that it's working for you. But that's all I want to tell you about this for now on local markets. Let me get to a second video and we'll talk through all of these as we go. Take care. Cheers.